to do this and help me with it. It was staggering, and it took years. And during this time, other people, there were supplement companies and stuff like that trying to come out with stuff and poison the well. Because you don't just make, I got a myostatin inhibitor right here. Here you go. Try that. No, it doesn't work like that. It's very difficult to find. And all of a sudden, somebody came out with this, Cysticercia canarensis or whatever. You try that? God, yeah, the algae. I tried that shit. By the way, I don't just, I take supplements myself, so it's not like, I know when something's working for me. I tried that shit. Did you try that stuff? Yeah. Did you waste your money too? Yeah, okay. So I wasted my money, because I tried that shit, and it just didn't work for me, okay? Because it beat me to the market. I was like, wow, cool. I would have been happy with that if they really found it. It was cool. And by the way, there was no research behind it. When you looked at the research behind it, it was horrendous. It was horrific. It sucked. It was just nothing but bilking people of money. There was no science behind it, and it didn't work. I don't mind if something doesn't have science behind it, for God's sake, work. Fuck, I'd rather have a cup of coffee in the morning. At least I know that'll get me up. That works. Don't need research there, right? Grande latte, no research there. So, one or the other, or both, okay? Preferably both. So then, I stumbled on some early research that pointed to the egg. And we're getting to Myo-T12 right now. In the egg, and here's your lesson on eggs. A regular egg, like the kind that we have in the morning, kind that I had like 4 of them this morning. How many people ate eggs this morning? Okay, those are infertile eggs. Those are just chicken eggs, regular chicken eggs, okay? And regular chicken eggs, this is how you get a regular chicken egg. The chicken lays the egg, and you keep the rooster out of the hen house. That's it. If the rooster's in the hen house, all the eggs are fertile. Get it? And you need fertile eggs because that's how you make chickens. And you can actually buy fertile eggs in a health food store. So it's in our food supply. So no denying that. And I wanted to see, because I found in this early literature that there were biologically active hormones that cause the chick to grow, and grow very rapidly. Because in a matter of a week or 2 weeks or 20 days, all of a sudden you start to have the formation of a chicken. And most of it is muscle, right? So something is developing that muscle really quick. And something is holding back any inhibition of that muscle growth. So we identified these biologically active substances in the fertile egg as opposed to the infertile egg. There's a small blood spot. And that's another reason why they don't like to mix them up. They candle them. They candle eggs so that you can see. In the old days, they called it candling because they'd take an egg and they'd hold it against a candle, and if there was a blood spot in it, they'd throw it out. They said, that's a fertile egg. Get rid of it. Because when you break it open, there's a blood spot in it. And people don't like blood spots in their eggs. They freak out. But in a fertile egg, it will have that spot. Sometimes it's more visible than other times, but it has that spot. What is that spot? Now, the USDA says that that spot is nothing. Don't worry about it. There's no nutritional difference between that and a regular egg. I said I disagree. I think that spot means something, because that spot means that thing's growing a chicken. Don't tell me there's nothing in there. Don't tell me that spot is nothing. I found out it's 20,000 cells. What? Did God, is this just a joke on God's part? No. God doesn't make jokes. That's 20,000 cells that do something. So I found out what it does, and they produce biologically active substances that spur on muscle mass. And they're very important in doing that. So I said to myself, well, this is really interesting. I published that research, by the way, and if you go to myot12.com and you go to the published link, I'm completely transparent about it. I took all the reprints and I put it right up there for you to see. You can see the whole march through all the studies and everything that I did over the last many number of years. So from there, I knew I had my substance, but I needed to debulk it and amplify it, okay, and bring it forward. Otherwise, can I just eat a ton of fertile eggs and get the same benefit? Well, hardly. You'd have to eat an awful lot of eggs, okay? Because once we go through the whole debulking process and we go through the isolation process, you are basically getting a yellow egg. You are getting that blasto disc. You are getting that spot and a little bit of yolk that comes with it, and it's in a freeze-dried form. So that was breathtaking to me. In the process of this, I just started establishing my end product. And as I was doing this, I was involved with a pretty crooked company, unfortunately, a pharmaceutical company that filed a fraudulent patent application on my product and spent an awful lot of money beating them down in court, and they settled with me. And isn't it interesting that this was a biopharma company, you know, that did vaccines, who tried to steal this from me? So that happened after I did the first couple of pilot studies where we looked at a couple of individuals and we started saying, well, first of all, I want to see if this substance can pass the gastrointestinal tract. And it's very important. It's a very important question. And will it actually inhibit myostatin? And so we just took one subject and we tested that. A pharmacokinetic. We looked at a couple of different markers to make sure it passed the gastrointestinal tract. Because we all know, or we should all know, that growth hormone can't be taken orally. So anybody that says, oh, we got a new oral growth hormone, bullshit. You don't. It's not possible. You have to inject growth hormone. And the only other way that we even know of besides injecting is the Israelis came out with an inhaled growth hormone, but it just didn't catch on. They had the patent for it. There's no other way to get it in your body. So I had to make sure that this wasn't the kind of peptide that breaks down in the acid environment of the stomach. Lo and behold, we did that study. That study is on myot12.com as well. Then we said, okay, now we know it's getting in there. Now we know it's inhibiting myostatin. So we know we've got a real good product. Meanwhile, I'm messing around in federal court, won my settlement, shut them down, permanent injunction against those guys. I got my thing back, got my idea back, thank goodness. Now, I got to expand it, I got to work on people. I need 7 subjects. I did a 7-subject study. Then I did a 10-subject study. There's no question. In the most recent study that we did, we had all 10 subjects were responders, and we dropped their myostatin by nearly 50% in the first 12 to 18 hours from one serving. Okay? And the nice thing was, remember, I don't want to block. I'm not interested in blocking. I'm interested in inhibiting. In 24 to 36 hours, it normalized. And I want that. Okay? I'm using it in a lot of ways with different athletes as well. I mean, I guess you can use it to put on monster muscle mass, but you know what? I'm interested in also using it to help athletes recover, to help athletes heal, and to help them, you know, improve their performance. And so that's what I'm doing right now. So that's the story with MyoT12. MyoT12.com. You can get all the information on it. You can read what's being passed out to you guys, and you can see the studies for yourself, the published studies. I'm very transparent about it all. And it is being sold through myot12.com, but I think, Alex, what is it, Netrition? Netrition? Netrition is underselling us. I think like $80 or something like that. It's like $20 less. So I mean, you know, there's basically a 1-month supply, about a 30-day supply, and then you go from there. And that's pretty much it. So I want to open the floor now just to questions from anybody about anything. Feel free to rock and roll. Question right here.
When I saw this before over there, they said they hadn't done any testing on women. And why is that?
It's a good question. This is not a product for women. It is.
Why?
Yeah. Well, I have to emphasize that first. You know, it was originally geared for men, and since you're messing with biologically active substances on the myostatin axis, women will have a different response to it. And so it's not designed for women. The question is, what would the untoward response be? We know, for example, just look at testosterone, anabolic steroids. If you take testosterone, you know, women have testosterone just like men do. They just have a very small amount of it, okay? But they're exquisitely sensitive to it. And if you inject a woman with testosterone, the side effects, unlike a man, which are largely reversible, with the exception of bad gynecomastia, you have to get that cut out, okay? But basically everything's reversible. In women, once you start seeing the side effects, it's irreversible. Tell me that isn't strange. Clearly there's a different physiologic makeup. And you know, I've seen some pretty bad side effects on women from testosterone. Growth hormone has a different effect too. So the point is since we're operating on this, you know, anti-catabolic axis, it simply hasn't been tested in women. So I don't have a good answer for you other than to say that we can't